Welcome, everybody. We are live on Rumble, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Telegram, as well as Facebook. This is episode 4 of season 2 of Campaign for America with Dennis Andrew Ball. We have a live call-in line, and that call-in line number is 702-482-8620. Feel free to call in and give us your thoughts. With that being said, let me read our disclaimer, and then we'll get into the intro. The views expressed on this show are expressly the views of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views, beliefs, or opinions of News for Us World, its hosts, broadcasters, or affiliates. Remember, folks, always use your own discernment when viewing. We encourage our viewers to think for themselves. Welcome, everybody. We are here live with episode 4 of season 2 of Campaign for America. And with that being said, we have a great show for you today. And let me get right into our intro and we will begin.
In 1980, Ronald Reagan wore a white suit, a red tie, and a white shirt and addressed the nation. Hi, I am Dennis Andrew Ball, and I am running for President of the United States. I am talking to you right now because the debates that were conducted this week need to have a presidential response. The economic issues that both Barack Obama and Mitt Romney answered created in the minds of many of us unanswered questions of how do you sustain economic growth in the United States of America. In light of the decisions and the events that have happened since 2008, what do we need to do to reduce the deficit, increase job creation, maintain Social Security and Medicare, and provide the opportunity for our children and future generations not only to survive, but to thrive in a global economy. I would like to talk to you quickly on how I perceive what needs to happen. The United States of America at this time is suffering because the means of production have not equaled the ends of production that it requires in order to sustain its middle class. The United States of America must reindustrialize itself to make it possible that 23 million Americans can go back to work in industries that are productive for themselves and their families. What we are witnessing on a daily basis is the demise of the American family, the traditional American family of children, parents, and grandparents, by people in authority who have used, abused, and misused their positions to hurt our people. This must stop, and it will under my administration. The need at this moment of time is to get our organs of power in business to invest in research and development, to make it possible for industry to not only survive in America, but also to thrive. My attitude is that the production capability of the United States is equal to none. Our workers are very productive if given the opportunity, but they must be protected by government that concerns themselves with their best interests. And that has been a problem for many years in this country. My attitude also is that in order for our people to get themselves in a position to care for themselves and their children, we have to evaluate at this moment in time what is important for that to happen. And I believe that it will be more of a decision on the part of the American people when they go to the voting booth to decide who they think is best qualified to do that job. I believe also that we are in a position to make decisions that will impact the course of history and to bring about positive change in the lives of our family structure. I want to say that in order to do that, the means of production will have to be a top priority to reindustrialize the middle class and to provide the support for the future generations. I want to say this, that in terms of how we go about this business, the President of the United States should be very aware of what has happened and what needs to happen. My interest at this time is to educate through my administration of candidacy for presidency to make it possible for you to learn more about me and to decide if you are better off since the election of Barack Obama and the changes that need to happen in terms of the increase in gas prices and food prices, the mortgage forfeitures that have happened since him, and also what we will do in the future to make it possible for more people to be employed out of 23 million who are not. Consider this opportunity to communicate to your friends and your neighbors my thoughts, and I look forward to hearing from you. I need presidential electors who will vote for me through the Electoral College when I win the states in this country to become your next president. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
All right, Dennis, would you like to do some housekeeping? Unmute yourself, buddy.
Oh, yes, Stephen. We're going into housekeeping right now. I am very encouraged, ladies and gentlemen, to be a candidate for President of the United States. I am the very first candidate in history for president who's saying that we are not alone. And I have written a book about it called Full Disclosure. We are not alone. It's on Amazon.com. Stephen put it on the desk. Stephen, I have this book out to George Knapp, Dr. Stephen Greer, Joe Rogan, Jeremy Corbell, Bob Lazar, also Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, and Stephen Colbert. I am waiting for them, and I am contacting them through my chief of staff to make contact for national exposure. Also, in terms of opportunities to communicate the platform of the party, this Friday, which will be, I believe, let's see, today's what, the 31st, February 2nd, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be on a show called Blog Talk Radio with Kaz Stratton. And she has done write-up of me for that opportunity, that segment of her show. And so we're going to go on there as well. I'm encouraged also from what Murray Edwards is offering us, a platform for our shows to be on his platform through Washington Effect. And as I've said before, we are making our way into the mainstream incrementally. And that's a fact. Whether people understand this or not, things are not getting better. As a result, more people are being impacted negatively by the culture we are living in. Therefore, that's why we're here, to help them hopefully avoid many of the pitfalls that have happened to all of us, and to provide the support necessary to overcome the problems set before us. This is what Lincoln believed in the 1854 campaign for president. He was not nominated as the candidate, the nominee, but in 1858, the Whig Party became the Republican Party, and then he became the nominee in 1860. Right now, I am the nominee of the American Party of America, the American National Committee. I'm very honored to be here. I did suffer a gallbladder issue about 2 weeks ago on the 17th, and had surgery and saw my doctor today. And so, praise God, we are moving forward with everything. I anticipate also that you're going to start seeing me suited up in a suit, tie, shirts, as we move forward with the campaign into these other realms. I just received, before we went on air tonight, Stephen, a call from a gentleman, a Byron, Dobson. He is the editor, opinion editor for the Tallahassee Democrat. I think that's huge. And I will be proceeding to get him information that will provide support for us here in Florida as we move forward with events which we have planned in Clearwater, also in Ocala. Clearwater is in Pinellas County. And we also have planned at the Naval Air Station in Fort Lauderdale, and others. Also, the big one will be in Tallahassee on St. Patty's Day weekend, the 16th and 17th of March, at the Vietnam Memorial. I spoke to Mr. Byron about this, and so they know we're coming there. We're going to have our speakers, and we'll have witnesses and testimony and stories from people who are being damaged by this government. So, with that, let us proceed. I believe the last time we spoke about issues relevant to what has happened to the international market of job creation, corporations were thinking about returning back to the United States. What do you think of that, Stephen?
Well, that is encouraging news for sure. Amidst all the bad news we've been getting all around the world with everything going on, that's at least something, you know?
Well, yeah, and that's a big one because that's on the top of my list. Living wage jobs. You cannot raise a family on minimum wage, people. Just try it. See how you fail so miserably.
No, you can't. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that we can live off of minimum wage. I mean, with everything going up with inflation and all that, you know, people are struggling. People are literally living paycheck to paycheck, including myself.
Definitely. I mean, between food stamps, welfare checks, or Social Security money, and you know, I mean, I have to say this: the UAW, Fawn Shane, he's their president. You know, he's advocating right now for even a pay increase for the automobile workers of America, the UAW, United Auto Workers, and they're even having a tough time. They're saying we want jobs that we can live off of. And I believe that. We need jobs like that because you cannot raise a family on minimum wage. That's just the bottom line. Minimum wage is designed really for entry level positions. And as far as age is concerned, it can be people in their teens all the way to young adults. So, but once we get beyond, the young adult age, it becomes, the family age. And that's where the real rub has come. I would say, gosh, from the mid 70s on up, for people in a society to be able to live, not only to survive, but to thrive and to be rewarded for a good job. It's nothing like having a good job to go to that you're going to have people there, have your back. And what's most debilitating is when you do a good job and somebody terminates you for doing a good job. And that has happened more than once, believe me. Politics are also part of the job market. I know that for a fact because I have people who tell me about their situations where they did a good job and got fired. They were almost ready to retire from the job. They'd been there years, and suddenly the job is no more because somebody planned it that way. And there you are. And so they end up in
Certainly
court.
looks that way. It certainly looks that way with all across the board. People are, there's too much divisiveness and politics getting into the workplace that's causing too much harm, I think.
Well, for sure. And it is. I mean, I'm telling you for facts. I am telling you for facts. I have conversations with people who are in court dealing with companies or even government where they have been screwed out of their retirement, screwed out of their pay. These were six-figure jobs too, incidentally. This is not some, Play-Doh or, sandbox type situation. This is a real deal. And these people were harmed unjustifiably. And now they're trying to get justice from a court who may or may not listen to them. And that's a fact. So, I just want to say this, people. You're listening to somebody who's not going to play here in this country. You're listening to somebody who understands the pain and the struggle you have in your life. I have had it in my life, not as much now, praise God, but I get it. And the realities are this has got to change. I talked to my doctor today about this too. I let him know who I am. And it's important. He's a fine young man too. And basically was very, very skilled at what he does. But I told him things that he needed to know about me because the things that I know are correct. And why is that? Because I check it out with God. I talk to God a lot about important things that I think need to be spoken. I think there's way too much secrecy going on, too much, intimidation, shyness, whatever, lack of confidence, whatever. The thing about it is, if you want to gain confidence, you have to have faith. In order to get faith, you have to have confidence. So that's the egg. I can't think of all the things I could say on that one, but it's the chicken and the egg. You want a chicken, you need an egg. If you need an egg, you need a chicken.
Chicken or the egg scenario. Which came first, right?
Exactly. So I thought that was funny. And hey, while we're talking about stuff, talk about funny. Did you see the game Sunday with the Lions and the 49er football
No,
team?
I did not, but I know my mom probably did. She's a huge Lions fan.
Oh, I know. It's so sad. It is so sad that they lost that game. And a lot of people are blaming their coach, Dan Campbell, for his decision making or lack of that put them in a hole when they were ahead by several points.
Oh man.
It's terrible. It reminds me of Brandon Staley. I don't know if you know that name. He was the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers when they played in the playoff game against the uh, Jacksonville Jaguars, and they were up. Just get a load of this. They were ahead 27-0. The Chargers were, and lost 31-30.
Oh man.
Tell me about it. And let me say this too, that the coach, he went the next year in the Chargers, and now he's gone. I think that could happen to Dan Campbell, even though people liked what he was about, but they feel like he lacks judgment when it comes to winning. Although he has won too, but this is a game. Football is a game of strategy, and emotion. I agree, but strategy. And if you fail to pick up on strategy in the midst of victory, and you don't respect that, then people recognize that you may be a choker and a loser. And I feel right now Dan Campbell's in that boat right now. He may never recover. He just may never recover. But that's here nor there. I just thought I would mention that to the audience because I wanted the Lions to win. I did. I don't particularly care for the attitude of the San Francisco Niners. They got some great players. I agree, but they also got an attitude that I don't particularly care about. So I'll just leave it at that. All right. So today's show, we want to continue down the road here with the living wage offshoring reshoring jobs back into the United States. And we had spoken about this last time from the time before. And I want to go to my stash of information. Oh, incidentally, Stephen, I sent you some pictures
Oh yeah. Let me.
from Uganda, Africa. This is the African Party of Nations, the ANC. They're holding up my pictures of me as running for president in Africa. If you're able to put that up on the screen for the folks to see, that would be great.
Yes, I'm doing so now. Give me 1 second.
Oh, yeah, okay, good. Let me see what you're doing here. This is very good if we can get that done. Wow, this is exciting to me. Yes, sir.
But go ahead, continue. I'm going to bring them up momentarily. I'm just waiting for a second
Okay.
so I can
Right.
get the images.
Certainly. Okay. Well, yeah, let's do this. I'm just looking right now for the continuation.
There we go. Should be sharing my screen here any moment. Says it's still loading. Give it a second, but it should be sharing here any minute.
Okay. As a matter of fact, I lost the video on it, but I'm going to recover it right now. Okay, I see you. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. Ooh, that's neat. Ooh. There we go, people. This is from Uganda, Africa.
So, for our viewers who don't know, explain to them about the party you created and in many different countries, and what that's about and how this all started, because this will give context to this photo, I think.
Exactly. Let me send you something else quickly, which would even help. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, keep that going. Just bear with me here for a moment, because I have another photo I want to send you, and then this will help put everything in context. Just bear with me. All right. I'm glad we're doing this too, folks. Yep. Folks, we are the real deal here. We're the real deal. We're fighting for you and everybody else the way it needs to be. We're not a bunch of fluffers. We're for real. Okay. It's coming. Just bear with me for one moment. Looking for what? Okay, here we go. All right. Okay. All right. Is that okay? I just sent you this schematic of my books because the books also have the parties, the number of parties. And these parties, one of them is what these gentlemen are representing, the African Party of Nations, the APN, sponsored by the American National Committee. And if you're able to get, okay, let's do this. Okay, I'm going back into, okay, the program. Okay, I'm back in program. If you put the flyer up with the books,
I'm still waiting for it to come through. It hasn't come through on my end yet.
okay. Well, let me just say this. There's a flyer coming up there, and it's got 8 political parties on it, including the AOA, the ANC, the American Party of America. And what this African National Committee and every one of the parties relates to is the Ball Doctrine, creating peace and prosperity in every nation. Okay, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier today with regard to living wage jobs and creating a middle class in every nation. Is that unrealistic?
No, I don't think so. I think it's very realistic.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, because I don't think it's unrealistic. As a matter of fact, I think it's necessary. I think, I think the world at this time in history demands support for each nation building from within. Instead of the world piling in on the United States, all these illegals, they stay in their own country, they build their own nation, they have their own constitution, they have their own schools. Now, hopefully, the effect of a good constitution is that you'll have moral turpitude, where people will respect each other and will not try to use, abuse, and misuse and harm each other. And of course, that is a function of government to protect the people. That's what government is supposed to do, is protect their people, not exploit them, use, abuse, and misuse them. Unfortunately, that's a problem.
That's what we have going on right now is a bunch, of our leaders targeting their own citizens, and our own government targeting its own citizens. I mean, we're in the middle of a tyranny right now, folks, whether you realize it or not.
Exactly. I agree. That's why I'm here. Otherwise, I'd be retired. Okay, to be candid. But the situation being that, little Jimmy and little Susie down here don't have a chance if the adults like us don't step in and fight for them. That's a fact. And I will never stop fighting for them. And as a consequence, God is my witness. And he tells me this is what I should do. So I do it. And he is blessing, and more is coming. And I may find myself up there on the pedestal at the inaugural, taking the oath of office as president of the United States. And it's a fact, people. For those out here, the naysayers and the laughers, go ahead and laugh and naysay. But see, God is greater than this. He said, it is not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, thus saith the Lord. It is his spirit that causes things to happen, whether you like it or not. I have stuff happen to me. It just does. And it's like, it's good. It's like when it's supposed to happen, it will. I know right now, if I withdrew from this campaign, God would swallow me up like a whale and put me right back where I'm at.
Well, it's funny how the universe seems to do things at the perfect time when you least expect it. Now, God's time may not be our time, but it will happen on God's time, I believe.
It does. It really does. I mean, right now I've got 10 witnesses on full disclosure. And I think I've mentioned their names. And then we've got the editorial boards. We've got people for events here in Florida. We've got people outside of Florida in Minnesota, Michigan, Missouri, Alabama, Texas, Arizona, California. The whole idea right now is to create the media buzz to get the people organized in every state. So enough of that. So what I'm going to do is go back to what we were talking about. Did the flyer come through?
No, it has not. Just double check, make sure you've sent it because I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, okay. Let me see this. All right, I know what's going on. Okay, I think it should go through now.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you see it or tell me when you see it.
I'll let you know. Oh, here we go. It looks like it's coming through now.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, there we go. Let me just
Okay.
it over to my computer and then I'll bring it up on the screen.
Yeah, just see it.
Okay. Here we go. There we go.
There you are. These books and the circles around the books, like one says the Canadian Party of Canada. That's the CNC, Canadian National Committee. The Nationalist Party of Nations, the NPN. That's in the Middle East, those Middle Eastern countries. Nationalist Party of Nations, sponsored by the Nationalist National Committee. That's all under the Ball Doctrine, creating peace and prosperity in every nation. Right. And so those boys in Africa, they are following the Ball Doctrine, creating peace and prosperity, which means creating a middle class in Uganda. Praise God. And we are talking to them about clean water. Clean water in Africa is like gold because they don't have enough of it, and they have to dig for it down in springs and vestitures and wells. Okay, which means they have to dig, they have to drill, baby, drill for clean water. But clean water is so important for anybody's health, and so
Well, water is an essential function to be able to live. I mean, you
yeah,
need
right.
water to be able to survive. Me and Angie did a show last Sunday, this last Sunday, on what's going on with the water in Missouri, and we tied in some information that we got relating to these 15-minute cities that these globalists are trying to usher in, and what we think is going on there. So that's very, very relevant to what you're talking about going on there as well.
Oh, definitely. In Flint, Michigan, the water got polluted because of the pipes corroded and caused tremendous harm to the children in Flint. Tabitha Finn is one of our members in Michigan.
Yes,
She's been outspoken on this. I think you had her on a separate program.
we did. We're gonna be having her on again in the upcoming near future here sometime in February. So be on the lookout for that, folks.
Right. If you communicate with her, tell her please try to get in touch with me. I've attempted it on a couple occasions. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I would like.
think her phone. I think she doesn't have her phone anymore. Her original phone number, because I've been getting a hold of her through her husband's phone. So I think that's probably why you haven't been able to get a hold of her.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'm just kind of curious what's going on there. So I don't push any of the members. I let them come to me, and if there's problems, I let them tell me what's going on. So anyway, as we proceed here, I thought that would be an interesting side note for today's program. And people expect more to come. It took me years to develop this program, but it's happening. Praise God. Okay, so now let us proceed with the show. And what I need to do, Stephen, is I need to go back to what we were talking about. So just bear with me.
Take your time. And folks, if you want to call in and give us your thoughts, you can do so at 702-482-8620. That is our call-in line.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Okay. Bear with me. See, I'm looking for the article because that article was excellent that we have been working off of. And okay.
I recommend everybody go check out Dennis's books. The links are in the description. AOA-anc.org/bookstore.html. You can get some of his books there or on Amazon. There's a lot of information there for you to go through. And don't forget to check out his latest book, Full Disclosure, We Are Not Alone.
Exactly. And we are not alone, buddy. I mean, we are not alone. Okay. Let's see. Just bear with me here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was the article. I'm trying to locate it. I thought I had it much easier. Okay. Well, now we're back into that. Okay. Hold on.
Bear with us one moment, folks, while he gets that article up, and we'll continue as soon as he's ready. In the meantime, don't forget you can call in on our call-in line 702-482-8620. Give us your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. So while we're waiting, I'm just going to go through and read some of these parties that he's created in other countries. We got the European Party of Nations, the ENC, the Asian Party of Nations, the ANC, the Canadian Party of Canada, CNC, and we have the Oceanic Party of Nations, ONC, the
That's
Latin
right.
Party of Nations, LNC, and the Nationalist Party of Nations, NNC, and then the American Party of the African Party of Nations, ANC. And this picture right here is them, I believe. Yes, correct. So the ANC, this is members of the ANC holding up some of his material. These are recent pictures, folks. So this is actually a thing. He has made a party in many different countries. He's founded his own party, the American Party of America, which has all these other parties under its umbrella. And the whole point of this is to create a middle class in every nation.
That's right. That's right. I spoke to my doctor about this today. It was really amazing because he has been very good for me. I have health issues that I deal with, and he's a young man, and he is somebody who he works outside the box. A lot of these young doctors now, they're not like their fathers. Um, they are, I think, a little bit more motivated out of the technology, the science that is coming forth. Not that their fathers wouldn't, but it's just the approach is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And and they're into not so much, cutting up people. It's more non-invasive,
Mm-hmm.
and that's good. You know, who wants to get all cut up? I
Nobody, I
sure
don't
don't.
think.
Really. So that's all part of the situation. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think I found it.
Alrighty.
I think I found it. Yep, I did find it. Praise God. I found it on my vice presidential's running mate website. That's
Just found it.
Richard Sanders. Yeah, Richard and I had a nice chat the other day about trans. I'm writing another book called Divided by Gender, and that's going to be very interesting because I have specific thoughts on the whole subject of gender and the craziness that they want to do uses a political football to divide the nation and the world, for that matter, along gender lines and creating new genders and not even considering.
It's all part of their transhumanist agenda, if you really think about it.
You think? I know, it's crazy, man. I mean, there's some stuff here. These Nazis, these fascists, these communists. Oh my God, they look at the world as if it's their oyster. They're in control, and we're just useful idiots. Do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. No consequences to them, but lots of consequences to us. Screw that. I'm done with that.
Screw that. They
You
do
bet.
not own us. Klaus Schwab, you don't own me. And all you other WAF bastards, you don't own us. Screw you.
I love it.
I mean, the gall on these bastards is just unbelievable.
Yep, I know. It's crazy, man. I mean, Howard Noma says it so well, and this Yusef Noah Harari, the Jew scientist, who pretends to be another Joseph Inglis or Joseph Goebbels from the Nazi Party. But he is dangerous. He's into nanotechnology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's
turn us all into quote unquote Borg and talking about, oh, human rights are out the window and this, that's over. And I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Have you heard him? Have you heard him talk?
Oh yeah, he's one sick SOB.
I love it. I love you talk this way because he is. He's dangerous as hell. Him and Schwab both, and
Yeah,
and then all these oligarchs, and they look at everybody else. They're little peons, and even the president and everybody else are just little employees of their cabal, including Z, President Z from China. He's just a puppet. It's true. Putin too.
well, they're trying to control the world through this WEF
Yep.
leaders group, the so-called leaders group, because I don't even consider these people leaders. They're pawns in my view.
That's it. Parasites from Davos, Switzerland. Oh wow. Who cares? Run around in black robes like you're Mr. Mitten.
I know it's the mentality of these people is sick.
It is. Okay, people, here we go. I'm going to kind of pick up where I left. Okay, now we're talking about high-tech goods. Let me say this, that the tidal wave of investment is why Volkswagen CEO Scott Keogh recently told Bloomberg there's never been a better time to build a factory in America. That's awesome. He went even further, saying it's a little bit like the gold rush. How about that? And it's not all just expensive, high-tech goods. Danish toy giant Lego broke ground on a new plant near Richmond, Virginia. I'm going to stop there for a moment and make a comment. There's another situation in Charlotte, North Carolina, not far from Richmond, where Siemens Corporation has built a factory to make subway cars, aluminum subway cars that go over tracks above the ground and below the ground. They manufacture them there in Charlotte, North Carolina. Siemens is out of Munich, Germany. The governor of North Carolina has been involved in this, as has the mayor, who ran on a similar platform that I did during the time that the mayor's race was in Marion after Robert Butler had retired and just before his death in Marion, Illinois. And I threw my hat in the ring to be the mayor of Marion. Had I won that campaign, we would have living wage jobs now in Illinois. However, the governor that is there right now, J.D. Pritzker, he is a commie. And he is all tied into this transgenderism. And I'm going to write about it called Divided by Gender. And there's going to be a subtitle, something like Transgenderism Creates the Socialist Man or Woman. Again, it's really amazing. It's almost out of Mein Kampf, Hitler's book, his autobiography and his philosophy.
Well, I think they're definitely drawing from a lot of that, for sure. Because I mean, just look at where it's heading. Look at the tyranny we're facing. Look at the censorship of people that are trying to speak out against what's happening. They're being silenced. What does that tell you? When you have any kind of government silencing its own people, that's propaganda. That's tyranny. That goes against everything our country was founded on. So we have to ask the question: what is their real agenda? What is their real goal here? Because it sure as heck isn't freedom.
No, not at all. It's control. Power and control over the mass. That's what the elites are about. Just like you see those people in Davos, Switzerland, at the WEF. But you know what was cool? That the president of Argentina, Javier, and I don't recall his last name, but he was recently elected as their president. He goes into one of their meetings in Davos and tells them that socialism is dead and
Yes,
that capitalism is the answer.
that was awesome. I remember seeing a clip of that, and I was like, "Oh yes, finally somebody's calling these bastards out at their own place of residence." I thought
Exactly.
that was epic. I thought that was epic.
It is epic. It is. And see, this is why programs like what we're doing today is so important. Whether people call in or not, these programs are important because these programs focus on what is necessary to get the job done in this country. I believe that.
Yep.
And we will not stop. We will not stop. This needs to be a regular event every week on the radio and TV as we move forward with the campaign for America and this party in this country, and having this same theme resonating through every nation on the earth. Is it unrealistic? I don't think so. Because I think this is where we are as a culture, society, and in history. I think this is what needs to happen now for the world not only to survive, but to thrive, instead of being thrust into an age of 1,000-year darkness that Adolf Hitler envisioned for the world. What a sick puppy.
I know.
So anyway, let's proceed here. We've got a few more minutes. So let's proceed here with today's program agenda. Okay. So Danish toy maker giant Lego broke ground in Virginia. Eyeglass companies like Zenni now make their glasses in Ohio after making everything in China for years. How about that? So eyeglass companies like Zenni, Zenni, now make glasses in Ohio after making everything in China for years. Their new factory produces thousands of glasses for only $3 more per pair than it would cost them in China. And with a shorter supply chain, they can deliver to customers faster than ever. Awesome. Bicycle maker Kent International made all their bikes in China for decades. But after their biggest customer, a little store called Walmart, told them they wanted US-made bikes, they opened a new factory in South Carolina. How about that? Supplement company Vireo, Vireo Systems, sourced everything from China for years. After being hit by supply chain problems during the pandemic, they built their first plant in Nebraska. Wow, that's cool. And this is just scratching the surface, they say here in this article. But look, I'm not telling investors to run out and buy these companies' stocks. I'm not even going to tell folks to invest in the construction firms that I believe are most likely to benefit from this factory building boom. Instead, I found 3 undiscovered companies that could explode from this unfolding megatrend, whether or not this reinvestment in the US is a success. And he says, in a few minutes, I'll share more of what I know about these stocks, which are on the rise as we speak. But at this point, you may be wondering, why is this all happening now? Why? After decades of outsourcing. Remember, that's true. There were so many jobs that have been lost, so many factories since 2011, I think over 50,000. The question is capital flying out of China and back to the US? That's a very important question for a couple of big reasons, actually. Security is one of them. Okay, hear this? Okay, people, we're talking about security. And why are we talking about security? Because China is becoming a brute. They are the bully on the block. And companies don't like bullies telling them what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And China is doing that to them. A lot of companies just don't want to deal with the hassle of doing business in China anymore. Hear that?
Yep.
As tensions with the US increase, the paranoid Communist Party passed a national security law that is so hostile to foreign companies that it's scaring a lot of them away. How about that? They use this law to threaten and intimidate foreign companies, and American ones in particular. The Shanghai office of Bain, a major U.S. consulting firm, was raided by government thugs. Boy, this article does not mince words. This is raided by government thugs, which means that's the CCP of the People's Liberation Army. The same thing happened to American due diligence firm Mintz Group. Police shut down their office in Beijing and even detained 5 of their employees. These are not isolated incidents. American and global companies are subject to constant harassment over there. Hear that? It's gotten so bad that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce issued a warning about the risks of doing business in China. And there's a little bit of an article here from Financial Times that says U.S. Chamber of Commerce warns of rising risk of doing business in China. Washington Lobby Group says new scrutiny from Beijing has dramatically increased uncertainty for Western groups. Wow. And then, so one reason is security, why they would leave. And 2, an even bigger reason is cost. The cost of doing business in China. You see, China became the world's factory floor back when it was still a developing borderline third world country. People who had nothing were more than happy to work long hours in factories for low pay. But China has evolved over the last couple of decades. It's a middle-class country now. Hear that? Middle class. And far fewer people are signing up to work 14 hours a day for $2 an hour. Man, that's minimum wage, buddy.
That's below minimum wage.
Yeah, really.
Like by a factor of 10.
No kidding. You're right. It says the same thing happened in the British and American industrial revolutions. Eventually, as workers accumulate more money, they rebel. And wages rise. Yes. Productivity declines and businesses are forced to adapt. In the case of China, for American companies, it's a simple question. Why would I move my whole business across the world to a hostile country like China if it doesn't actually save money? It's both cost and security that are accelerating this Chinese capital exodus and boosting the return of industry to America. Praise God. I love this. And I have good reason to believe this will really kick into high gear in the next 18 months. Why? It's because of this island right here. and it looks like it's pointing to Taiwan. It is in the China Red Sea or the China Sea. This is Taiwan. It's a democratic, self-governing island that China claims as its own. But Taiwan also has a promise from the United States of protection from China. Over the years, China has increased threats to invade the island and take it by force. And it says, look, I know geopolitics doesn't interest everybody. It's not my favorite subject either, but every single person out there who has a 401k, an IRA, or a pension needs to pay attention to this because it will affect you. And he talks about if China invades, all signs indicate what they're planning, which is be an invasion. Trans-Pacific trade will shut down, period. Says no shipments of countless brands of t-shirts, toys, laptops, smartphones, or tablets. No shipments of all the other things that were outsourced. Okay. Well, we'll see.
Yes, we will.
Right on. I think that's a good place to end. Next time when we talk, we can talk about what the consequences would be for China to lose all its business. It would be catastrophic, disruptive, and still sourcing everything to China or even from other countries in Asia. Their items will quickly run out on American shelves and will not be refiled. So China is experiencing really a change to the extent where we could even call it maybe a recession, maybe a depression. I'm not sure. I'm not living in China right now. I don't know all the details, but it appears to me there's something radical going on in China. They were the ones who, as a matter of fact, tore down mosques, tore down churches, incarcerated people to re-engineer their thinking, and move the needle in a direction that we haven't seen in years, away from China back to the United States. So with that, Stephen, I'm going to turn the show back over to you. I think this was very timely and very good.
Yes,
and I look forward to seeing it, to distribute it.
Sounds good. And we will see everybody next week on episode 5 of season 2 of Campaign for America. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And with that being said, let me play our outro and we will wrap it up.
You bet.
All right, just waiting for the screen share to finish loading.
All right.
Anytime, Zoom. Anytime. Sometimes take a minute.
Okay.
Come on, Zoom. Load up that screen share already. Come on. Oh, it's taking its sweet time today. Oh, wait, here we go. I think we got it.
Okay.